I'm not gonna go into crazy detail, but I am going to rewrite a few scenes from James Gunn's Superman. So let's dive right in, shall we? The opening scene with the engineer. Now, we've already seen that she can manipulate her body. She can do this weird, like put her head where her crotch is. She can become like a hacking hentai monster. Like, she can create jetpacks. So it's not too far of a stretch to have her take a little page out of old Snake's book from Guns of the Patriots, fantastic by the way, where she can blend in with her surroundings to a degree. So in this scene, she is laying down on the ground, covered in white this time. She blends in with the snow. Superman flies ahead and she says her same dialogue. The alien is returning, or whatever the heck she says. And then she slowly gets up. I'm sitting there thinking it's like creepy with like the Nano Machines, almost like a Terminator 2, you know, little scene, you know what I'm saying? Something. I think that'd be kind of cool. Anyway, she gets up, boom, and now she's heading to the fortress. Just a super simple fix, super simple. Nothing crazy going on here. How in the world can a $200 million movie not think of something like that? I have no idea. Maybe they do it on purpose so that we can talk about things like this, AKA marketing, baby, but who knows? Anyways, to the next one. Now, stay with me on this one. It's gonna take me a moment. The scene where Superman gets covered in nanomachines and he can't breathe, apparently. So that will happen. He gets it all over his head, it's going into his mouth and all. It's completely uncomfortable. He kind of has his little freak out for a moment. We have him calm himself down, and then he kind of turns his head. So it's letting the audience know that he's thinking, and then he activates his X-ray vision so he can see through the nanomachines, and he sees the engineer. He then grabs her and immediately flies upwards with her in his grip. Now, we are not going to be verbalizing what he is doing right here, what his plan is. Having him calm himself, get his composure, have the little head turn where he's kind of looking around with his X-ray vision. It's just a brief moment letting the audience know, oh, he's thinking of something. Something's happening in his brain. You know, we don't have to be told everything. And we're not gonna have an internal monologue either. This isn't anime. So anyways, he has her in his grip and he is flying directly upwards, just like in the original movie, but this time he's holding her instead of her chasing him. So now Ultraman is given chase here and he is trying his hardest. And Lex is over here like, oh, blah, 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 Ultraman, hurry up and blah, 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 whatever he's shouting at him. And he's trying and he just can't quite get there. Superman is going, man. As they're going up, it's getting a lot harder for her to breathe. And so she's sitting there freaking out and she's telling Lex, hey, look, I don't know how much longer I can keep my composure here. I'm gonna back out. And Lex is like, no, you stay there, blah, blah, stay the course. Yeah, no, he's doing his villain thing. He doesn't care about her. He's just using them as pawns. He doesn't care actually about these people. And so the engineer is trying, she's trying to obey Lex and she's trying to hold on for dear life with all the nanomachines. And Lex is like, put more on him, weigh him down, or whatever the heck he's shouting. Maybe she even creates a jetpack that's like blasting in the opposite direction to slow Superman down. I don't know, but she's trying and she's starting to slowly pass out. She's like, I can't hold on anymore, Lex. I'll never let go. I'll never let go. No. Stupid. And so she finally like passes out and she lets go of Superman. The nanomachines start falling off of his head. He doesn't have to use his X-ray anymore because they're off of his actual face. They're inside of his lungs. And he starts, doing the whole coughing up thing. He's ripping it out. And then Ultraman's like, whoa, hits Superman, boom, maybe even more like nanomachines like fly out of his mouth or something like that. I don't know. But anyways, he fights off Ultraman and he sees the engineer falling. She's unconscious. Now, this is gonna be a cool moment for Superman because it's gonna showcase his compassion and his kindness, not only for like, people like obviously Lois or, little girls crossing the street or something, or squirrels, but it shows that even if you're his enemy, he still cares about life. He doesn't want you to die. He doesn't want to kill you. And if he can save you, he's gonna do whatever he can to do so. So he sees her, but Ultraman's doing his thing. And so he, boom, boom, boom. He gives Ultraman a good old 1-2. Ultraman goes flying. Like I'm talking about, whoa, he hits him really hard. Ultraman is flying away. He's gone. Superman rushes down after getting Ultraman off his back. He grabs her in the nick of time, maybe turns his back because they're about to hit a building. He takes the blunt force of that. They kind of like land onto the floor and he's making sure that the engineer is still breathing. She's alive, she's okay. And he has a little bit of a whoo moment right there. And then he turns around and before he can even think, Ultraman is there. Bam! Slams into Superman. They crumble through the floor and cue the scene as normal. his mask is all messed up and it gets revealed that he's a clone of Superman, and it all just kind of plays out the same, other than obviously him pulling out the Nano Machines because he's already done that. So overall, I think that scene would have been better this way. I'm not saying it's the most perfect way to make this scene. I'm saying this is just what I would have done given what this movie has provided, because it shows Superman's quick thinking. It shows how he's calm under pressure, and it also shows his, like I said, his compassion. He saves the engineer. He actually cares that she's falling to her death, so he saves her as well. Moving on, I'm trying to stay in chronological order here, so I'm not gonna be changing a scene, I'm going to add a scene. This is gonna play out right after the Justice Gang saves the kids and stops the war and stuff like that, and then after the Superman speech to Lex about putting one foot in front of the other, and then after he has his little smoochy smooch with Lois, and then he's like, I gotta go do something. There's something that needs my attention. And he zips on out of there. And then we cut over to, I forget what it's called, wherever that war place was. So he's over there, you got the Justice Gang dusting off themselves, talking to whoever, and Superman's there, and he's sitting down, and he's got a bunch of kids around him, and he's like telling stories or whatever, and he's sitting down, he's like chilling with these kids, talking to them. And then we even have it where maybe for a split second there, he tells the little boy that brought up the flag, he's like, hey, look, man, I'm sorry I couldn't come sooner, but my buddies took care of this. I was doing this, and he's telling stories. Oh man, he looked just like me. It was like a clone of me, and I was fighting him, and there's like this black hole, and the city was breaking. He's telling like a fun story with the kids, which I think would be a really heartwarming moment. But anyways, we cut on over to the Justice Gang, and you got Guy Gardner over here, like looking over, and he's like, we did all the work over here, and he's the one that gets all the attention, you know what I'm saying? And then maybe a little kid comes by and he's like, hey kid, man, you want an autograph or something? And the kid's like, oh yeah, but he sees Superman, he's like, oh, Superman, completely forgets about Guy Gardner, and he just runs over there and he's like, oh, Superman. And then Guy's just like, You know what I'm saying? So it has like a little James Gunn joke in there, you know what I mean? Obviously, I'm sure he could write the jokes better. I'm not a comedian. It shows that Superman is, like, he actually cares about these kids. Like, yes, he couldn't be there in person because he was dealing with something in Metropolis or whatever, but he at least took the time out of his day to come and say hi to the kids, spend some time with them, make an appearance. And then you still get your jokes in there because Guy Gardner's over there and, it's like, I can't believe this. We did all the work and he's getting all the credit and blah, blah, blah. And like, I don't know. I think adding that scene would have been amazing, and it would have really fit with the entire tone of the film personally, but And the final scene I'm redoing is the drunk Supergirl scene at the end. Instead of having Krypto launch over there, knock her down, and start breaking the floor, slamming her body all over the place, instead, she comes in stumbling all drunk, and she's like, where's my dog? Same thing. Then Krypto flies on over as normal, but instead of hitting her, she's like, stop, Krypto, sit. And Krypto listens. He actually listens. And she's like, oh, geez, you're such a good boy. Roll over, do this, shake, blah, blah, blah. You're such a good boy, blah, blah, blah. And then you got Superman and the robots looking like, this little pooch has been freaking unruly for freaking days now, man. Like, yes, he helped me save the day, but he's been tearing everything up, and he hurts me, he beats me. So then you still get that like James Gunn type of comedy humor in there, and the humor lies in the fact that she can actually handle business with Krypto. Like, he doesn't give her any crap. He listens to her. Superman, he's like, screw you. And then they leave. The way that this fixes the scene for me is you don't have the inconsistency of being like, okay, well, she's drunk because of the red sun or whatever, but now she's in a yellow sun, but she's still drunk, but she's strong enough and yellow sun charged enough to withstand blows that can like break the floor. Like, is she charged or is she not? Is she in the yellow sun or is she not? Like, I don't know. There just needs to be the inconsistency there just bother me. And I think this handles all those issues without removing or just completely altering the structure and I guess the comedic tone of that scene, I guess. So I don't know. That's just me. Those are the only scenes that I cared to change and whatever. I mean, obviously, if I wrote the movie, I would have just done a completely different film. So, but anywho, I'm sure you're tired of me talking about Superman. I'm gonna go ahead and stop doing so. I believe the next video I'm gonna talk about is The Matrix. So get ready for that there. And if you like what you heard, please like and subscribe. Y'all have a wonderful day. Peace out. Yeah. How do I turn this darn thing off?